Some of my favorite stories to read as a child was about magicians, uh, mystics, seers, those who had control over the unseen forces. And one particular idea or image, and one particular, just I don't know, I like the word alchemist, alchemy. Okay, you've heard stories about alchemists. What is alchemy? Alchemy is turning um, lead into gold, right? Basically, that's the most prevalent idea behind it, right? Most people think it's about metals. It's not about metals. It's about men. It's about taking the most raw, base desires inside of us. So just like the alchemists take base metals like lead and turn it into gold, like all most of those ancient stories weren't just written just for entertainment. It was to plant seeds of growth into people, right? So different thoughts into people. So it's not about metals, it's about men. It's about making the most raw base desires inside of us, like those base metals. What are base desires? Lust, greed, hunger, and transforming into power, purpose, and greatness. That's real alchemy. That's what's always fascinated me. And here's the crazy part. Once you understand it, it almost feels like cheating. Okay? So obvious. Most beneficial things in life are just right in our face. They're very obvious, but such is life. We tend to look for complexity where it's not needed. Alchemy. You also, if you've ever read Think and Grow Rich, you've been introduced to the idea of transmutation. With alchemy, same thing, transmute. So transmute fire into focus is my first thought. The Bible often describes unchecked desire as fire. Proverbs 6:27 says, "Can a man scoop fire into his lap without his clothes being burned?" That's the image of lust and passion when it is left without discipline. It burns, it consumes, it destroys. But here's the flip side. Fire is also one of mankind's greatest discoveries. Without fire, there's no warmth, no cooked food, no progress. Fire, I'm looking at fire right now, forging some metal. Fire in its proper place doesn't destroy, it builds and sustains life. That's the point. Passion itself is neutral. Passion itself is not the problem. Misplaced passion, unchecked passion is a problem. Fire without control is chaos. Fire with direction becomes focus. So the alchemist, the idea of the alchemist, he takes raw energy, your sexual drive, your ambition, your desire, and forge it, put it into a forge, and he uses it as heat to shape whatever he needs, shape steel, whatever, um, not something to destroy. He uses it to create. So remember, you want to transmute the fire into focus. Okay. Number two is you want to turn your hunger into a higher vision. Hunger is natural. It's not bad or good. It's neutral, like anything. But society loves to spin hunger in ways that can confuse us. Think about it. As kids, we joke about, "Hey, Mikey, Mikey ain't eat Michael." Think about it. As kids, we joke about Mikey. I used to be called Mikey. My mom used to call me Mikey. Mikey will eat anything, right? Hunger gets lampooned basically as weakness, as a lack of control. But then when someone is climbing the ranks, we say he's hungry. So suddenly hunger is painted as drive, ambition, and fuel. Same word, different meaning, different framing, right? That's why hunger is a paradox. It can look like desperation or it can look like greatness. The alchemist doesn't kill hunger, he channels it. So instead of using hunger to consume endlessly, like food, money, status, validation, he elevates it into a hunger to create. So again, going from consumer to creator, from master, from servant to master. Master over your desires, master over your base ambitions. Number three, what the alchemist does, this is like so obvious, it's like cheating, man. Transform your lust into love, love of creation. Love is the strongest force on earth. You'll hear me say it time and time again. Um, Lust is just as strong, almost as strong, okay? Sexual desire. Most men let it control them. It becomes part of their habits, their distractions, their addictions. But the alchemist, the true alchemist, which we as men have to be, we redirect it. Don't deny it. Channel it into creation. Now here's how that looks in practice. Through art. Many artists, great poets, musicians turn their passion into timeless works. Think of how Rumi wrote about longing and transformed desire into words that touch souls centuries later. Fitness. That raw energy can be poured into training your body. You want vitality, you want to be attractive, build discipline in the gym. That same drive can lead to indulgence. Instead, can be the force that sculpts your entire body, your strength. Business. Entrepreneurs who build empires. Business. Number three is business. Entrepreneurs who build empires often channel insatiable drive into enterprise instead of escapism. Instead of spending energy chasing pleasure, they build systems that multiply impact and service. Now, here's the strongest one: transform lust into love. Love of what? Love of creation. Here's that word again: love of creation, creating. You know, love is the strongest force on earth. The cousin to love is lust, sexual desire. Most men let it control them. It leaks out into their habits, their distractions, their addictions, their way of life, and it brings them down. But the alchemist, the true alchemist, we know how to redirect it. We don't deny it. We channel it. Again, it's a creation. So here's how that looks into practice. Uh, Art. Many great artists transform their desire into um, works of art that touch souls for long after their um, outlives them. Right. That's how you channel, redirect, and become an alchemist. You channel it into some creative works through art, through fitness. That raw energy can be poured into training your body. Um, Sexual desire is vitality, but to build discipline, that same drive that same indulgence, that same vitality uh, could lead to sculpting your figure, right? Business. Entrepreneurs all the time. Some of the greatest entrepreneurs are highly sexed individuals, but they channel that insatiable drive into enterprise instead of escapism, which a lot of times lust is escapism. So instead of spending energy chasing pleasure, they build systems and they multiply their resources. through service. Okay, sexual energy is again creation energy. So if you want to pour it into service, like mentoring, teaching, leading, building communities, you have way more of a magnetism attached to you. You become way more transformative using your raw sexual energy to serve people instead of to escape. Spirituality. We know that there is the archetype of the sexually tormented clergyman, right? That's a real thing. A lot of God's most gifted individuals, as far as bringing the word and bringing people to spirituality, are very highly sexed, and sometimes you could say tormented by that. Nearly every great spiritual tradition talks about sexual energy as something to be refined and not wasted. That's why monks, mystics, sages, they spoke about celibacy, um, really controlling or transmuting that raw power, because that same life force could be the the ladder to higher consciousness, right? So the practice is simple: don't waste it, don't suppress it, don't deny it, redirect it. That's why I say alchemy feels like cheating, because that very same fire, hunger, and lust that destroy most men, that a lot of you have and really struggle with, it can be the exact thing that builds you into an extraordinary man. So turn that fire into focus, that hunger into higher vision, and that lust into love of creating. That's not fantasy. That's the real gold. That's all I have for you. Peace and blessings.